Hey there gamers, welcome to Switch Mania. Are you ready to unleash your inner savage and join the ranks of the orcs as they rampage across the stars? Then look no further than Warhammer 40,000 Shootas Blood and Teef, the latest 2D run-and-gun platformer from the talented team at Rogueside. If you're a fan of their previous work on the Guns, Gore, and Cannoli franchise, then you already know you're in for a wild ride. But even if you're new to the scene, don't worry. Shootas Blood and Teef has all the hallmarks of the classic run-and-gun game, with a twist of Warhammer 40,000 lore to keep things fresh and exciting. So grab your choppa and get ready to bash, smash, and shoot your way through the hive city of Lutius Prime, on a mission to retrieve your hair squig and claim vengeance on your warlord. And who knows, maybe you'll even become the war boss of your very own WoW along the way. But don't just take our word for it. Let's dive into the game's features and see what makes Shootas Blood and Teef such a thrilling addition to the Warhammer 40,000 universe. Let's talk about the storyline first. In Warhammer 40,000 Shootas Blood and Teef, you'll step into the shoes, or rather the massive brutish boots, of an orc warrior tasked with leading an invasion of the hive city of Lutius Prime. Your goal? To retrieve your hair squig, of course, but more importantly to exact revenge on your warlord and prove your worth as the fiercest orc in the clan. The story may not be the most intricate or emotionally gripping tale ever told, but let's be real, that's not why we're here. Shootas Blood and Teef is all about mindless, over-the-top violence and mayhem, and in that regard, it certainly delivers. One of the positive things about the storyline is how it ties in with the Warhammer 40,000 universe. Fans of the tabletop game and its various adaptations will recognize the orcs as one of the most iconic and memorable races, and Shootas Blood and Teef captures their frenzied, barbaric nature perfectly. However, one potential negative is that the story is fairly short, with a runtime of only 5.5 hours. This isn't necessarily a bad thing. After all, sometimes you just want to blow off some steam and wreck some stuff without getting bogged down in a complex narrative. But if you're looking for a game with a more substantial story, Shootas Blood and Teef might not be the one for you. Overall though, the storyline serves its purpose well, providing just enough context and motivation to keep you rampaging through the hive city with reckless abandon. Alright, let's talk about the controls. It's essential to have smooth and intuitive controls that won't leave you feeling frustrated when you're in the heat of battle. Thankfully, the controls in this game are a blast. You move your orc character around with the left joystick, and you can jump and double jump with the ZL button. The ZR button is your primary attack. Meanwhile, the B button is to dash and dodge. The right bump button is used for melee attacks, and you can use it to bash enemies up close or to break through certain barriers. One thing I particularly appreciate about the controls is the weapon swapping. You can easily cycle through your available weapons with the Y button, which is perfect for switching up your strategy on the fly. That being said, the game's controls can feel a little bit stiff at times, particularly when it comes to aiming. While you can use the right joystick to aim in different directions, it's not always as precise as you might like. This can be frustrating when you're trying to hit a specific enemy or target, especially if they're moving around quickly. Overall, the controls in Warhammer 40,000 Shootas Blood and Teef are solid and enjoyable to use. While they could benefit from some additional tweaking to improve aiming, they're still easy to pick up and play, which is perfect for anyone looking for a fun and accessible run-and-gun game. The gameplay, the meat and potatoes of any game. And Warhammer 40,000 Shootas Blood and Teef certainly delivers on this front. As a 2D run-and-gun game, the objective is simple: blast everything in your way while avoiding incoming fire. And let me tell you, there is plenty to blast. From the moment you begin, you'll find yourself up against wave after wave of enemy soldiers, each with their own unique attack patterns and abilities. One thing I particularly enjoyed about the gameplay was the sheer variety of weapons at your disposal. From the standard orc shooter to the devastating rocket launcher, there's a weapon for every situation, and experimenting with them all is the blast. The level design is also top-notch, with each level offering a unique challenge and a host of secrets to discover. That being said, there were a few minor frustrations with the gameplay. The difficulty level can be punishing at times, and some sections require multiple attempts to get through. Although there is a dodge mechanic, the game makes some encounters feel a bit unfair, but with some practice and skill, it's definitely manageable. Overall, the gameplay in Warhammer 40,000 Shootas Blood and Teef is fast-paced, exciting, and full of variety. Whether you're blasting through waves of enemies or searching for hidden secrets, there's always something to do, and it's a real treat to play. The all-important performance category. As much as we love our games, we all know that a laggy or buggy experience can really put a damper on things. So let's talk about how Warhammer 40,000 Shootas Blood and Teef performs. First things first, let's talk about the frame rate. On both the handheld and dock modes, the game runs smoothly without any noticeable drops in frame rate. That's a big plus considering how hectic the action can get on screen. As for battery consumption, I noticed that the game tends to drain the battery a bit faster than other games I've played on the Nintendo Switch. So it's a good idea to have your charger nearby while playing this one. One thing I did notice was that the loading times can be a bit on the long side, especially when starting up the game or transitioning between levels. It's not a deal breaker, but it's worth noting. Overall, I think the performance of Warhammer 40,000 Shootas Blood and Teef is solid. The smooth frame rate and fast-paced action make for an enjoyable experience, despite some longer loading times and higher battery consumption. Next, let's talk about the audio and visuals of the game. Visually, this game is a treat for the eyes. The hand-drawn art style is reminiscent of comic books with bold lines and vivid colors. The backgrounds are detailed with plenty of depth and layers to add to the immersion. The character designs are equally impressive with each orc looking unique and full of personality. The game also features plenty of blood, gore and explosions which only adds to the fun factor. In terms of audio, the game's soundtrack is fittingly heavy and aggressive which sets the tone for the game. The sound effects are also top-notch with each weapon sounding distinct and satisfying to use. However, the voice acting can be a bit hit or miss. While some of the orcs' dialogue is hilarious and delivered with gusto, other lines fall flat and feel forced. Overall, the audio and visuals in Warhammer 40,000 Shootas Blood and Teef are a highlight of the game. The hand-drawn art style is impressive and the sound effects are satisfying. While the voice acting can be a bit inconsistent, it doesn't detract from the overall experience.
And on to Gutricker's ship! And it's that one!
After playing Warhammer 40,000 Shootas Blood and Teef, it's safe to say that this game is an enjoyable and satisfying experience for fans of the 2D run-and-gun genre. The game's storyline is straightforward and humorous, and while the controls take a little time to get used to, they work well once you do. The gameplay is fast-paced and chaotic, with a wide variety of weapons and enemies to keep things interesting. In terms of performance, the game runs smoothly and without any noticeable frame rate issues. The game also works well both in handheld and docked modes. However, the game's battery consumption in handheld mode could be a bit better, as it drains the battery quite quickly. The game's audio and visuals are top-notch, with a great soundtrack and sound effects that add to the overall experience. The graphics are well designed with plenty of attention to detail and an emphasis on the game's overall aesthetic. In terms of negative points, the game's length could be longer. With only a runtime of 5.5 hours, some players may find the game doesn't last as long as they would like. Overall, Warhammer 40,000 Shootas Blood and Teef is a solid entry in the 2D run-and-gun genre, offering a humorous and engaging storyline, fun gameplay, and great audio and visuals. While the game may not be perfect, it's definitely worth a try for fans of the genre or anyone looking for a fun and entertaining game. All in all, I will give Warhammer 40,000 Shootas Blood and Teef a 3.2 out of 5 Switch menu stars. Thanks for watching my review of Warhammer 40,000 Shootas Blood and Teef. I hope you found my thoughts on the game helpful and informative. If you're a fan of Warhammer 40,000 or just looking for an intense shooter with plenty of action, I highly recommend checking out this game. And if you have any other games that you'd like me to review, be sure to let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more gaming content and reviews like this one. And if you're interested in picking up Warhammer 40,000 Shootas Blood and Teef, be sure to check out the link in the description below. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.